Hi, I'm Mike Bellevue, and I'm out here at Duelist Den on a gorgeous fall day, and I'm back with the Muzzleloading 1911. And as you recall, we did an earlier video with this, and I had some issues with it. Caps wouldn't go off routinely, and it was hitting way high. So that's a pretty simple problem to correct. And in fact, it's pretty much my fault that we had this problem, because ordinarily, Dykes Reber and his business partner, Sean McCandless, they would test and tweak every one of these pistols before it leaves the shop for a client. They sight them in, get everything going right. But, of course, I was impatient to get it. So I told him just send it out as soon as it's done, and anything that needs to be tweaked, I can do it myself, which I did. So the cap issue, that was solved by changing the mainspring out. I had a 14-pound mainspring in it. I put a 19-pound mainspring in, pops them like a charm. And of course, the shooting high was fixed by putting a higher front sight blade on it. So now I got that taken care of. And I've shot it out at the range a few times since then, and I'll tell you what, even though I know that this doesn't look like a muzzleloader, so it lacks the, you might say, historical charm of a single shot, percussion muzzleloader or a flintlock muzzleloader. But I'll be honest with you, this thing is a heck of a lot of fun to shoot. And if you want to win the pistol competition at Friendship, the National Muzzleloading Rifle Association's national shoots, you're going to be using a gun like this. These things are just dominant on the competition circuit at Friendship. So I figured now that I've got it dialed in, we'll take it back out and maybe shoot a little bit more steel and just have some fun with it, and give you one more look at it. Well, in case you missed the first video, let me give you the particulars on this gun. As I said, the gunsmith is Dykes Reber. He and his business partner, Sean McCandless, produced these. And this is a Muzzleloading 1911, pure and simple. It's a 1911 frame. It's got functional safeties. Grip safety works. Thumb safety works. Cannot fire it without it. Just like a 1911. Has a magazine that's weighted, filled with lead, and by doing that, as a counterweight to the barrel, it gives it a good balance. Excuse me here. There we go. Gives it a good balance, and it brings the weight of this gun to within half an ounce of a loaded standard 45 ACP 5-inch barreled 1911. So when you're shooting it, it feels exactly like shooting a 1911, except of course it only goes off once and makes a big cloud of smoke, which is a lot of fun. Now, it's a 45 caliber gun, so it takes 440 round balls and a .015 inch patch, and typical powder charges are 25 to 30 grains. And I've shot this thing at the range for accuracy. And as you can see, with the 30 grain charge, is grouping a lot better for me. So that's what I'm loading it with. The barrel is an Ed Rail barrel. It's got round bottom rifling. The twist is 1 in 20. And in the future, the barrels are going to come from FCI, because Ed Rail is a phenomenal barrel maker, is retiring. So you can Google FCI, see what you want on their barrels. They're quite good. So if you should order one of these, you'll probably, I don't know how many Ed Rail barrels Dykes still has in stock, but you might end up with an FCI barrel. As I say, everything I've heard about them is quite good. It's got fiber optic sights, both front and rear, with a rear sight that's adjustable for both windage and elevation. So we're going to load this thing up and see what it can do. Alright, loading a single shot pistol safely really does require having a loading stand like this. I mean, I don't think anybody makes one commercially. This is a homemade one made out of a 1x4 and a 2x6. and they do the job they're supposed to do. The reason they're a good idea is because without it, in order to get one of these things loaded, you're like waving it all over the place, which is kind of an unsafe situation. So, and I'm going to use 30 grains of powder. Now we're using GoX 3F, which is pretty typical. I'm just going to lube this with spit today. Usually I use lamb's tallow, but since we're going to be shooting this right away, spit works very well. In fact, it works fantastic. Just wet it in your mouth. And then send the ball home. By the way, if you use a spit patch, you're probably never going to have to swab the bore at any point while you're shooting. I mean, most patches you don't, but some lubes you do. A spit patch will keep the fouling soft like forever. Very handy. Alright, so I got a short starter. Right. Just gonna start the ball in and then send it home. And there we go. After that, it's just a matter of capping it with a Remington number 11 cap. And then we're in business, good to go. Well, let's take a shot here in the spin zone with the 1911 muzzleloader. You know, 5 years ago, one of the first things I did here was I dropped that tree, balanced it on this other log on the side, and set up those spinning targets. But just in the last week, that tree kind of gave up the ghost and it broke over the log and everything's on the ground now. So the targets are a little bit cockeyed. I'm going to have to come back here for a work day and kind of reposition everything. But let's see if I can hit one of those swingers with this. Got him. Well, I'm over here at Swing City now, the swingingest place in Duelist Inn. And I do shoot 1911s here a lot. But usually I'm trying to see how fast I can put 2 magazines in going back and forth across the array. So it's going to be a little bit different with this. I think I'll hit Swingin' Sam first and see how that goes. Then we'll move on from there. Bye-bye, Sam. Okay, we got Swingin' Sam, so let's see what I can do now with a member of the Circle Gang. If this was a normal 1911, things would look a little more like this. Okay, I guess I had one more thing to tweak. You probably saw in a couple of the scenes there that my magazine was auto-ejecting. And I'm pretty sure it's filled with lead, right, to weight it. I think a little bit of lead was interfering. So I got in there and I dug it out with this screwdriver. Made it, I think, fit the catch better. And it's been okay since then. You know, it's kind of funny. Black Hills Ammo gave me, and if you're political, try not to be offended by that, but it is a little bit funny. They gave me a full-blown trauma kit for the range about 5 years ago. And in 5 years, the first time I've ever had to dig into it was not for a gunshot wound, but it was for slipping and jamming this thing into my thumb twice, which was painful. But anyway, I think I got the magazine issue fixed and the gun is totally tweaked. We'll take a couple of more shots and get out of here. Okay, let's try the Muzzleloading 1911 on a 1 liter water bottle. See how I do. Got him. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like the content on this channel and you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I'd really like to have you as subscribers. And if you're already a subscriber and you'd like to support the channel, you can go to my Patreon page and support it there. And for those of you who are already patrons on Patreon, I have to say thank you very much, because I wouldn't be able to do this without your help. So until next time, it's Mike Bellevue. Keep shooting.